Hey, what's up everyone? Aubrey Trades here, and welcome to another pre-market watch list. Going over the top gainers for the morning and some potential trade ideas. Let's get into it. Now, very interesting, the SPY is now opening up at real close to all-time highs. Are we gonna see new highs? I don't know. We got the Fed FOMC meeting this week. I would put my money on selling off into the meeting because nervousness and uncertainty, but I mean, price action will tell. Some things we are taking a look at this morning. Blue is popping up on the gainer scans, up 34% to a high of 814 right here. Take a look at the daily chart. So we are kind of above 52s here. So, you know, pretty good look. However, let's go to that weekly chart and we can see that there is a bit of a gap to fill here right in the 850s, the 9s. So keep an eye on that range if you're going to play this particular stock. So 814 was our pre-market high. That's kind of right around here. I would expect there to be some resistance in the high 8s, the 9s. So just keep that one in mind. Next, showing up on the gainer scan is Ptpi up 23%. This kind of came back to life a little bit on Friday. Remember this one all the way up to 520 way back when, like a week or two ago. And now it's starting to see a little bit of life again. We kind of got this spike up here. It's under VWAP, so not the best look, but if it can keep the volume up, it could be pretty interesting. No specific news on this one. Again, let's look back at that daily chart. This is going to be a big level as we get into those 4s and to those 5s, because there's a lot of volume here between 336, 4. So just be careful. We're gonna need an equivalent or similar amount of volume to kind of push through that and see all-time highs. So don't get too crazy with your expectations there. ABCT, barely on the gainer scan. I wouldn't talk about this except, it ran last week. And this does look nice. I mean, we kind of caught this bottom here in the 2s. We're sagging a bit, which isn't the best look, but it's not necessarily out of play yet. I mean, look for that dip and rip. Look for, if it continues to fade, look for that weak open red to green. We'll also go into some other ones from last week that are worth looking at. Vista, VSTA right here. Keep an eye on this one. You're going to want to see this hold that 383 level for a continued motion. Sigma is a top watch. This was a runner from Friday afternoon. Holding up, kind of catching a bounce off of the 7289 EMA cloud right here. A little bit under VWAP, but that's not the worst. Look for that dip and rip. I'm also going to draw this trend line here just to keep just to have something to have like a visual reference. But Sigma is definitely going to be a lot of fun. Moving on over to, we also got Cells. And Cells was another afternoon runner from Friday. Kind of gave it up at the end of the day though, but it's holding up. It's catching a little bit of a bounce. Where did it close? So we are just a little bit red. Again, look for the weak open red to green. Look for the trend break. Could be an interesting trade here. Blue is looking like it wants to break out again. And then I'll leave you with some bigger cap ideas here. Oh, there's a couple other ones actually that I'm gonna bring up. Cpix, watching for first green day bounce. Go back to that daily chart. 1, 2, 3, 4 red days in a row. I want to see if it wants to put up a first green day bouncing off of this 513 EMA cloud on the daily. And the CFVI, same sort of thing. Now, I wouldn't expect like crazy moves out of these, but you know, they're still kind of holding up. They're not done just yet. LGVN, another one. This looks so sexy, this consolidation here. So I'm going to continue watching this for a range break, push higher. And then, of course, let's look at ARDX, which is consolidating nicely here this is a gap fill play that goes up into the 6s. So this might take some time to develop, but it's still looking pretty good on ARDX. These are kind of more like back burner. Let's keep an eye on them. STRN, Zach Morris pump, that's still hanging around. And let's see, Apple. Are we going to hit that $3 trillion market cap? I'm not necessarily looking to get long at this point. It looks kind of extended. I think maybe once it hits that $3 trillion market cap, there might be a little bit of an exhaustion move. Still keeping an eye on Marvell. I might grab long calls to swing since we're on this dip, bouncing off the 513. And BLDR, another one that keeps moving higher. So I'm going to keep an eye on that for a long call swing. Oracle just gapped up on Friday on great earnings, just crossed par. So I think this can continue higher once you cross that psychological level of 100, 200, 300. Things can run for a few points. So I'm definitely really interested in that. Ford finally broke out of its range and hit 2149. So weak open red to greens, VWAP holds. This consolidated for about a month, so and it's EVs, so I think this could have somewhat of a run. It seems like overall the market is like rotating more into those like safer growth plays. I mean, that's why you see like Apple's running. That's why maybe that's why Ford is running as opposed to like Tesla and Lucid. Like, don't get me wrong, still a Tesla bull, but this is not a bullish chart right now. You know, maybe we chop around sideways for a bit, but and then also like we had Rivian that sort of like has been selling off. Lucid has been selling off. Honestly, like Lucid puts into any spikes this week, looking at that, but it just seems like that rotation into those safer plays, that the Fords, the Apples, how's Microsoft doing right now, the Microsoft, so, and honestly that might be why the S&P is still kind of floating up, as opposed to like you're seeing the classic COVID names like Nvidia's starting to roll a little bit. You're seeing Moderna's definitely like way off of its highs here. Upstart, another one, AMC, GME, all of these are like classic like names from this COVID era that are all starting to fall apart, yet the market's still holding up, which is why I feel like it's a little bit dubious. Plus there's still uncertainty around Jerome's like hawkishness. Nothing has changed, yet here we are back at all-time highs. It just seems so weird. And I want to bring up that like let's go back to this. It's like Max. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the 2000s, right? You got new highs, kind of had this like dramatic sell-off, recovery, and then right back into this. So this is almost like at the end of 2000. This is like September, October, and then the real unwind starts to happen. And I'm just wondering. Same thing here, right? Boom, boom, boom. Dramatic sell-off. Kind of retest and make slightly new highs, then the unwind starts to happen. And I'm curious if we are seeing somewhat similar action. Now, admittedly, on the weekly chart, this sell-off that we saw doesn't look nearly as dramatic, I think, as it did in that 2000s or 2008 range. Right, I mean, here is 152 to 135. That's a 20-point sell-off. Let's go over to here where we had This is 170 to 140. Okay, I guess it is like kind of similarly ranged. Just looks a little different, I guess. But anyway, that's some thoughts. Just what I'm thinking. That's all I got for you. Kind of mixed in a little bit of like macro theory into the gainer scans. But just to wrap it up, Sigma is probably number one. Cells, Vista, Ptpi, AVCT, iSig still, hanging around that 20 mark. I wouldn't count it out just yet. But yeah, again, if you want to catch the watch list, I have a link to it in the description below. See everything that I'm kind of keeping my eyes on. Otherwise, if you got value out of this video, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what other types of content you want to see from this channel. Thanks again. I'm Abct Trades. See you in the next video.